Hello everyone and welcome to another preview video for finally another Wano patch. The time of waiting is over and we get new content with Rügener Gruppierung and the 35th US Infantry Division with the National Guard coming around with the next patch. They are part of the early access pack that you get for free if you earned Wano in early access. And if you haven't gotten the early access pack yet, the price won't change, so they will be still part of that, and it will be 7 divisions instead of 5. So the deal there is pretty good if you haven't gotten it yet. Rügener Gruppierung, not gonna lie, most hyped division for me in the game yet, because I'm coming from Mecklenburg-Vorpommern, which is the northeastern area of Germany in the GDR, and Rügen is right there, and the units were stationed close to my home. So this is pretty awesome. Also, it has a lot of cool stuff to offer. Before we jump in, if you want to test these divisions yourself in a bit of a tournament next weekend, check out the Warno Swiss Championship 2v2 tournament, Swiss format. So that means if you sign up, you will play throughout the tournament. There's no elimination, and players will play against other players with similar record in the tournament in later rounds. So it's fair matchups for everyone, and everybody will have a good time. So yeah, consider just joining up. There is a prize pool as well via Matcherino. And yep, let's jump in here into Rügener Gruppierung and the awesome stuff that is going on. We will go over 35th in the next video and then over the changes with the patch, because there are quite a couple in the final video. So yeah, let's start here in the logistics tab. Obviously, everything is potentially still subject to change, but it is close to final, this build. And we start with the MTLB ammunition here, classic. And then we have a new cool looking unit that is also amphibious, as it should be, the Schwimm PTS M ammunition with a lot of crates and a good amount of supply as well. 1,500 supply, quite the big boy. And the amphibious can maybe come in helpful. Rügen being an island, the naval forces being stationed there of the Volksmarine, and yeah, a lot of Volksmarine auxiliary forces and kind of marine units here involved in this whole division, together with some normal NVA units and some reserve forces. Ural, classic big supply truck with 1,000 points. Me2D as your little command chopper, 3 availability, 60 points. That's quite the steal for a commander. So it could be a viable card here for that price point. We might finally have a helicopter CV card that is worth its price. And availability, we will see. UATs and SPW here coming both with 3 availability as well, though. And yeah, hot looking SPV60 here. Unfortunately, no special trait from all of this electronic gear, but it's still looking hot. Felt depot, as it is a standard division as well. Infantry is an interesting one. Let's start here with the standard MG and the 30mm mortars in standard UATs. Then we come to Sicherungs, which are a really all-round solid unit that we have seen quite a bit of. The SPW 60 being a really solid transport in combination with these guys. They have AT, they have Resolute, they have security, so they are a really good unit to hold the flank. And they actually are pretty efficient in pushing as well. 7 hit points, they have an MG. Militärstreife, helpful unit, but not super important in this one. The Fopos being around as well. I would recommend usually taking those. They only have Sicherung, but they come with the SPW PSH, and they have 2 more weapon slot, and there's no really disheartened units here, so the Militärstreifen are not necessary. Reservisten, low veterancy, the classic format here, 9 hit points, RPG with 14 pen, not the greatest, but at least decent range. Can come in the also not so great SPW 152. The Reservistenführer, same thing. They got the Strela. They have 8 hit points. That's a pretty solid one. Strela 8 hit point leader. Can be helpful. And then the Reservisten with the SMG coming with only 6 hit points, but coming in a really cool transport, though a quite pricey one with a double 40mm here, the SPW 152 ZPU2, which is a really awesome looking vehicle as well. That can be quite handy with that double fire. Modschützen coming in SPWs here in this division, the BTR and the SVD variant. Unfortunately, no 4th weapon slot overall rework yet, so these guys still don't have any AT or so. They are still the same. Resolute might change in the future once we have a bigger 4th weapon slot rework over older units as well. Panzerjäger with the double RPG, solid unit as well. And then we come to the first Polish units in the game, and they also come with cool stuff. At least the leader does, because the leader is the first unit with smoke grenades in the game as well. And that is quite dope. We will for sure see more of smoke grenades in the future. Some old units will most likely get them retrospectively as well. And yeah, this is the first unit here, the Polish leader, smoke grenade. And they have the terrible RPG 76 Koma here, which only has 12 penetration and 500-meter range, and pretty bad accuracy as well, of 45 normally, here with veterancy going up to 50, so it's really bad. Their Topaz 2 transport also not that amazing, only having a PKT here, 2 frontal armor, not that great, pretty slow as well, so that is not the strong suit. The Star being a normal truck transport here that you can get, and yeah, the Pechota at least get an RPG 7 VM, which is still not great, but a good bit better. The PKM here, yeah, the standard AK going around. The SVD version is another 4 weapon slot unit. That at least is cool. So yeah, that kind of shows you where the Modschützen SVD might go in the future potentially. And this unit is really strong. RPG, SVD, double PKM. Like, that is quite some firepower. Maybe the Modschützen SVD will stay without it. We'll see how that goes in the future. But yeah, 7 hit point unit with an RPG and a decent firepower. Quite a solid choice. Transport still not that great. And then we go to Marine Pionierführer. The leader himself, 6 hit points, RPG. Not that special. Not that spectacular. The Marine Pioneer is a strong one. 12 hit points. You can upvet them. So that is an option as well. And they get TNT, double MG, so solid firepower as well. Pioneer Flam, same thing, lower availability, but 12 hit points as well. And the Flamethrower, so solid units both. Pretty solid unit here, 65 points and 70 points respectively. SPG 9s, PLR AR, Fagot, and Conquerors being standard as well. SPW for the SPG9, no special transport there, and then the UATS SPG9 coming around for 45 points here as well. Artillery tab is not a big one, but it has a really awesome unit, the SPW 50 PK MRF, and that's what they nicknamed the Puratino, because it fires 2 big rockets at once over a really short range. And those then do some decent damage. It costs only 80 points. It has a decent amount of reload time and cost, and it has really low range, so you need to be careful how you fire these. But they do some okay damage for the cost, and you get 2 per card. Get 2 of them. In real life, those were anti-mining tools mostly, with then exploding a minefield in a minefield. But yeah, it's an interesting guided rocket here, indirect rocket, that can be quite interesting. We will see how effective it will be in action. I'm looking forward to see it in some tournament action, hopefully. And then M46 130mm and the D30 122mm in no special transport there either. Tank tab, not strong, but at least not terrible either. We get the 85mm K52 AT gun. It's not that great. A good rate of fire. 14 pen range, not that amazing though. So this is not so special, and especially as you will get another unit that is able to do its role better later on in the AA tab. I don't think really this is worth it. The Malyutka P, not that amazing either. At least it has now good stealth, so that is helpful. But yeah, I'm still not the biggest fan. T55 Ace are okay. AK as a leader. And then you get the Polish T55 AM Merida, which is pretty solid. Relatively similar to the East German T55 AMs. So, yep, not much difference here, but it's a solid tank with that. And then the T72, it's a basic one. It doesn't have smoke. It has only 1,925 meter range, but at least it gives you a tank with good penetration and good frontal armor. And together, these two can do okay. Good availability here, or decent availability as well for both. So that can be quite nice. You get enough tanks to function. That's basically what you get here. It's not amazing, but it is functional. Continue in the Recon tab, where you get some Reserveaufklärer, which come in a cool looking amphibious little boat car with armor and a PKT. Can also go for the bigger MG here on the truck. So as this one is cheaper, and amphibious and armored, I kind of feel like this one might be the way to go. We will see. Aufklärer can come in the 50 cal truck. You get some BT-76Bs as well. Obviously, everything amphibious here is around. Grancers can come in a Me Too. Outside of that, standard as well. Pioniere Aufklärer, Währungstaucher. That's an interesting one. Shock, at least, on a recon unit. Very good optics. And then, yeah, 8-man and TNT. Pretty solid shock unit. Pretty solid pioneer. And then we come to the special forces. And that's another 4 weapons unit here with the KSK. More 4 weapon slot units, as I said, to come in the future. Now we have one more here. It's the second one in this division. And that is a solid loadout with TNT and an RPG. So, yeah, decent there all around. The RPG, obviously not great. Firepower, decent for a 7-man squad as well. They get special forces, as this is the Kampfschwimmerkommando 18 represented, training in for special operation, like swimming operations, special forces, similar to the Kampfschwimmer of the Bundeswehr or Kampftaucher. And yeah, decent firepower here, 7 hit points only, so not amazing, but pretty solid. Then we come to the hottest looking helicopter currently in the game in my eyes, the Mi-14PL, which is an amphibious variant of the Mi-8. I don't believe they can swim, unfortunately. They would be able to swim IRL. I don't think they can do it in game. But they have exceptional optics. The first East German helicopter with exceptional optics. Most likely going to be the only one with it as well, as it has the sensors for it. In real life, being an anti-submarine helicopter and helping with anti-submarine action. And then the Mi-8 TB as a very good optics attack helicopter here with Malyutkas, with some rockets, with some guns. So that is quite cool as well. Attack helicopter, though it's still a Mi-8. So yeah, not sure how worthwhile that is. Exceptional optics helicopter for 50 points, I think sounds a bit more reasonable. We will see about both of these. AA tab is a really, really cool one. Strela, not that special. It can come in the ZBU though. That can fire on helicopters and even on aircraft somewhat. Yeah, that is cool. You can get a lot of them in the combination, and it's still not that expensive. And then the ZBU 23-2 double millimeter, the 57 millimeter, which has actually an okay range against helicopters, which is a nice thing. Like that's a really, really big buff, the extra range against helicopters, and even an okay one against aircraft. The accuracy is terrible though, so damage output is still not that amazing. Then we have a unit that has the same range against helicopters and aircraft, but also has 1,925 meter range against ground targets with 16 penetration. With the Flak KS 19M2 100 millimeter anti-aircraft gun, kinda World War II vintage level, but it has a good shell that actually can penetrate things and one-shot APCs and a couple of lighter armored units quite easily. Accuracy is not great. Rate of fire is okay. So yeah, it does okay. The accuracy against aircraft and helicopter is not that great either. So I'm not sure how reliable it will be there. But it is a cool looking unit and a nice to have thing for sure. And then we have the Fasta 4, which is another really fancy tinker together unit here of the East German, really do-it-yourself DIY kind of AA unit with the 4 Strellas here pushed together. 4 hit points, low accuracy, high rate of fire, spam of missiles just out there. And then we have another low accuracy, not so high rate of fire, and really hard hitting Crook M3. It is 13 HE missiles, so it one-shots everything, including 8 hands and Su-25s, and just evaporates everything. One shot. 6,000 meter range, so longest potential range, but also only 30% base accuracy. You most likely want to take them up with 1 vet so that the aim time and so on goes up and they go up to 35%, but still, that is not that much. You can get quite a couple of them currently, though. So you can spam a lot of them, and then some missile hit, and then that missile just evaporates the enemy. So yeah, we will see. Supply cost somewhat high, though currently not insanely high. Yeah, might be something to tinker around in the future if this turns out to be super busted. It has the potential for it. We will see how it goes. 155 points, though, quite pricey as well. Then we have the double 25mm on the truck. That's a solid anti-helicopter hunter as well. Not so great off-road speed, decent road speed. Faster here with the Faster launcher on the truck. That is pretty solid as well. Same price actually as the normal Faster, with better availability, which I find a bit interesting. But yeah, that is that. And then Shilka as some maybe a bit more reliable AA, though Shilka is still not the best AA out there. Helicopter tab is an interesting one as well. We have another Me Too urine. That thing is quite solid. Rockets and a gun is a solid combo for 60 points. Me 8 TB, not so great. I'm not a big fan of the Stimmelhutgas, are just too bad. And the gun doesn't really help. And then the rockets are okay, but it's just small rockets. So yeah, not really doing it. And then we have a really, really interesting one with the Me-14 PL as an anti-tank launching helicopter with only 1 anti-tank missile, which has to have a tracking pod on the other side to assist all of this going on. But as you can see, this is a chunky missile. It's the hardest hitting one. We have seen it on planes before. It's the hardest hitting helicopter launched missile with 30 points. It's also the longest range one with 3,000 meter, outranging a lot of AA, but only having 35% accuracy, only having 1 missile. So this is absolute the perfect roulette. This is the gambling man's division, both in anti-tank missiles from this helicopter, in anti-air missiles. Yeah, it's in hit rates on tank guns and so on. It's the gambling's person division, and the Me-14 PL just really shows that perfectly. The overtime, because it can stay so far back and just fire its missile, it should pay off. Like, it one-shots Leopards frontally. Leopard 2s, A3s, I mean, with that, the 16 frontal armor version, it one-shots that, and everything with less frontal armor. So it is a scary missile on the 120-point unit. And then AirTap is a solid bunch as well. We get the L39s here with the 200 kilo bombs, with the cluster and the normal 250 kilogram bombs here as well. So that is okay. And then we get a rocket plane in form of the Lime 6M, which is a MiG-17, I believe, out of Polish service. It has a triple 23mm gun, so that's its best thing, kind of making it a solid helicopter hunter and stuff. The rockets only being 16 and not 32 or so, you run out of them quite quickly. It is decently fast though, so yeah, Liam M6M, interesting unit. We'll see how effective it can be really. Su-22s in versions that we already know, in a new one with a lot of 500 kilogram bombs here with the Su-22 M4 HE2. So that one is quite scary. This one already hits quite hard. The one with 2 extra 500 kilogram bombs should nuke everything pretty much. MiG-23 A8, we know already, Su-22 AT with the KH-25 ML, and then Su-20 cluster bombers, which are another Polish unit here with 6 500 kilogram clusters that should wipe out enemy ground units. And then another really interesting cluster, because this is a G cluster. This is basically a Mehrzweckwaffe just for the East German side with a MiG-23BN. Only 10 ECM here on this one, so it's not as OP as the Tornado. No air-to-air missiles either, but it has a couple of extra bombs next to the KMGU cluster, so it really leaves some explosives on the battlefield. And that one will be interesting. It will be really interesting to see how it plays out. If it can just be as oppressive as the Mehrzweckwaffe can be against infantry blobs, or if it's easier to shut down or something, thanks to the lower ECM and so on. But yeah, really solid air tab as well. The A8 not the strongest. You have good A8 tab though, so yeah, it should be quite interesting to see how this all plays out. I'm really hyped for it. Let me know down below what is the unit you are most excited for in this division. And yeah, if you don't want to miss the reveal of the 35th, consider leaving a subscription down below and a like if you want to help the channel. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you all next time with the 35th Infantry Division.